Let's get it.
Scotch, bourbon, and rye, yeah, we on that whiskey. Wanna discuss an array of topics, conversation simply. Gonna drop your whiskey bars with the sip hitting for. Could you pass it? You want more? Another glass, let it flow. Steady pour. Steady pour. Yeah, a steady pour. A steady pour of growing, a steady pour of sharing, a steady pour of knowing. Now pass that Glen Carry. So pull up a chair, grab a glass, and enjoy a melanin infused perspective with a whiskey twist. Yeah, a steady pour.
Yes, sir. You're back with us with another episode of the Steady Pour podcast. I'm your co-host Drew,
Calvin,
Tony,
Darius.
and we back.
We back.
Yeah, we back, fellas.
Back at it again.
Yeah,
It feels
man.
different.
Yeah,
What's-
something
what's
different
new?
about?
Something's
Something
different.
off.
I don't know.
you can't quite put your finger on it.
Nah, I can't. I can't really.
Give me shoulder room real quick.
All them bows.
But we doing all right?
We feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Like the new setup. Cal put some work in.
Cal
bit.
put this understatement. Look at
I mean,
that.
it's pretty nice, man. It's pretty nice.
You don't undersell my man's work.
Well, you know we had to do it right because we
Yes.
got a special guest with us. We
who
just
we
starting
got?
off with a special
Who
guest.
do we
Let's
have
do it. Let's do it.
today?
So you might have seen her in your favorite major distillery picking your favorite barrel.
Okay.
You might have seen her in your favorite craft distillery before you even know their name.
Keep
They
going.
speak on it.
You might know her as the owner of DEEstilled, creating boutique spirit lifestyle experiences for you.
Oh, that was
You may know her as Seelbach's managing partner, giving you the latest whiskey drops. You might know her as the co-founder and co-host of Soul Palette Podcast. And last but not least, you may know her in these IG whiskey streets as DEEstilled, dropping fire whiskey bars. Welcome to the show, Denaya Jones. What's up? What's up, D?
Oh, what an intro.
Really, really good. I don't know if I've ever had anybody introduce me on anything. So, first of all, I love y'all's intro, by the way.
Thank you.
nice.
Oh, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
You know,
We like it. We're fans.
I like that a lot.
oh, D, we met you early on in was that Black Bourbon Run 4?
Yes.
Right? Officially, and we told you then that we wanted to get you on the podcast.
And here we are.
And so here we are, first up for this season. So we were really excited to have you.
Shout out to y'all on the forward thinking, because y'all already got the thumbnail before we even had a date.
Absolutely.
That's like really smart.
We're trying.
Oh,
We need to
Right.
be better at like planning ahead. Like
We're trying to be better at
It's
this.
taken a while to
Right.
get to this point.
You're right.
trying, doing. I love it.
We're only 4 years deep.
That's baby.
I've been
That's,
doing this podcast for 4 years.
Yeah, 2020 was when we
Almost
started.
exactly. Almost,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm actually not even at free. I think we might be at 2, maybe at 2. A little
Okay.
over 1 year.
Okay.
Approaching 2.
nice.
Nice. We're fans though. We listen to that as well.
On your episodes, you be having like the entire lineups. Like when you say we're going to review a whiskey, it's like you have the whole
Thing,
lineup.
right?
Yeah, we used to do between minimum 3. I mean, I think the most we had was probably our first episode with Clyde. He brought a bunch of stuff. I think we might have 7 or something.
Oh, man.
But we usually cap it at 5.
That's
Right.
That's
Because you
smart.
can get through 5 in a 2-hour span without rushing and like throwing a bunch of sips back. Like,
Nice.
so yeah.
We tried it.
I like to go in depth about stuff and like really go through a flight and do a
Yeah.
right time comparison
Right.
across the category.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, time goes real rapidly, especially once they start flowing.
Oh, I know.
By the third, it's like we forgot that we already hit an hour now.
Right.
Conversations start going. It's like you don't want it to end.
We usually have to limit ours to like 4 a recording session.
Yeah.
There's
Because
only 4 of y'all. It's only me and Capri, so it's less people that we're splitting the conversation
That's
between.
true.
Yeah.
that's true.
That makes it a little easier too.
Definitely.
Nice.
So D, we have to know
sort of just off the rip, like how did you? Because we're into whiskey, but you're into all the spirits, right? And so how did you get into the spirits industry? What was your start? What was your I can make a career out of this.
So I didn't actually think that I didn't. Well, I thought that I could make a career out of it, but I didn't really have any sort of visual as to how until like 2018. I got in this industry in general because I had no anticipation I was going to one be in hospitality or bartending or whatever. So I definitely didn't know that spirits was an option in terms of a career. I went to school for PR. And
Okay.
so
Wow.
I started working in catering in my junior year of college to make extra money and just do that job doing admin for her. Shout out to Shirley's Kitchen.
Shout out.
So doing admin for her just kind of snowballed into me doing a multitude of things. I did the website and I did photography, videography, bartending. Once I got my bartending license, became an overall like manager. Did everything bar program wise for her. Started doing like gin tastings, bourbon tastings, like educational sessions for clients and stuff like that. So doing that gave me an idea that like, okay, I could make money from it. I didn't really still at that point look at it as a career. I didn't really realize that there was a career through the channel of bartending and hospitality until I won Chocolate City's Best in 2018. And so as a result of the prizes that came with winning that, one, it was the first competition I won, and it was only the second competition I'd ever done.
Wow.
And the first one I did was like 3 years prior, and I swore off it was 2 years prior, and I swore off competitions because it was just a great experience. But then I did Chuck C's Best. Shout out to Bree, my best friend. And so,
Shout out.
this was before I even joined Chocolate City's Best. This was just me supporting an all-black cocktail competition and just like really loving everything she was doing. And so I was the only woman to compete in the whole thing. Wound up winning that, and it wound up one of the prizes was going to Miami on behalf of Bacardi. And I saw all of the kind of like different lanes that people were taking outside of bartending. Like this was the first time I went into like a corporate office that's like catering to bartenders and just like being in the spirits, but I'd never seen anything like it. So getting exposed to that and going to the Bacardi office and just kind of experiencing Miami through the Bacardi lens is such a beautiful thing.
I bet.
Budget, it's like the way to do it. And so that just completely blew my mind. And so I was like, oh, I could really turn up then with this. And so from there, I just kind of realized that there was just more that I could do, period, outside of like being behind the bar. Because I knew that I wasn't going to be behind the bar forever.
Right.
There was just, the hours don't work for me. I'm really not a night person. Like, y'all are special because this is past my bedtime.
We appreciate it.
Late nights. And so the bartending thing was already getting old at that point for me. But, and so that kind of is what gave me that spark of like, okay, you could really do something with this. And when it came to the spirit side of it, me and Blake wound up finding each other as it pertains to Seelbach, just off some random. I was on Indeed for the first time ever looking for something in management, but also in spirits. I knew that I wanted to be in retail because I've always envisioned myself having my own store. And so I was just kind of looking for something to kind of give me a door into understanding the industry. And I wound up finding Blake looking for an operations director on Indeed. And we talked on the phone because he's based in Florida and wasn't here to do an in-person interview. And then I just wound up inheriting 3 storage units downtown.
Wow.
That's
Figure
incredible.
out what to do with product and labels
That's
and
dope.
all the things. And that started out part-time. Even in the midst of that, I wound up, just for the sake of like stability while I figured everything else out, I wound up working for a credit union for like 6 months, which was like the closest I've ever been to like a corporate experience. Did not work out for me. The level of control that corporate tries to have on your schedule. To do, like, I get my job done before 4:30. I don't need you telling me I have to sit here till 4:30. I shit to do. I got another job to get to. Like, it was that type of like back and forth every day.
Right.
I was like, I can't do this. And so Fall of 2018. I started with Seelbach's spring of 2018. Our first email went out summer of 2018. I became full-time fall of 2018. Um, and we just been rocking ever since the pandemic. We moved out of the storage units. At that point, we had like 8 or 9 storage units from the 3. Consolidated that into our first warehouse space during the pandemic. We're in our second warehouse now. Hopefully, we're going to be in our third.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Ideally before the fall. So yes, it's kind of snowballed. So my passion for spirits kind of started in the catering space and then blossomed in the craft cocktail space. But I was exposed to just how expansive it is by through Seelbach's, just kind of being there from the jump and just looking at all of this through the lens of just like only really focusing on craft brands, I think just gave me a completely different level of insight into like what's possible.
Right.
Because
Gotcha.
with brands, you're not going to get the same amount of like feet on the ground exposure
Right.
to all this stuff. Like a lot of brands that we've worked with them since their first iteration of their like first round of SKUs. Like, so
Wow.
it's really cool to kind of like go through almost 6 years of like a journey in a brand's like building out their brand identity and building out their process, their production, and going from those like young 3-year-old bourbons to finally having something well aged and being able to really showcase what your intention was from the onset. Like that type of thing is really cool to like be able to see and taste through in real time.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I could only imagine how it feels to like to start with not just one brand at its inception, but like multiple brands so early on and watching like all these children grow up, so to speak. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like with like Pursuit United, for example, or just Bourbon Pursuit in general. Like before the Pursuit United was even a thing, I think we even had, I don't know if we had episode 1. I feel like we did, but I think we've distributed just about every episode release that they've done, like every bottle that they've done with every episode of their podcast, and now they've got the big ass warehouse that they've got. On a roll that's getting built out. Like that's insane to
Right.
like see
see
just
that.
that whole thing
Yeah.
with Heineken. Like so, just examples like that. Like it's very very cool.
Right.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So you're based out of DC, and then you just went on Indeed, connected with Blake that was in Florida, and then next thing you know, you guys are pretty much starting Seelbach right there.
Yeah, he hired me. Well, we met in person for the first time in like July of that year, June or July of that year.
Wow.
Doing like I think we were picking a barrel with like Joseph Magnus when they were still in Northeast. And yeah, that's when Nancy was still with them. So yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Right. It's crazy how much has happened in a relatively short
much
amount of time. Less than a decade, and it's been like full careers worth of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess was Joseph Magnus your first barrel pick?
No, well, okay. That was my first time sitting down doing a tasting like that.
Gotcha.
With the intention.
Okay.
That was my first. It wasn't Blake's first experience because he started with Bourboner.
Gotcha.
So that's how Seelbach was even able to be a thing. Because it kind of started. He inherited some inventory from who he bought the license from, because you can buy liquor license from another company or whatever if they're moving on. And so he inherited some product in that sense, but he was also distributing his own barrel picks that he was doing for Bourboner. So there's also kind of like a built-in like whiskey group and audience that came with that, and Bourbon Pursuit kind of like immediately was on board when we started too. So it started from there, but my first like experience sitting down going through samples was I think at Joseph Magnus. Yeah, I actually never thought about that, but yeah.
Oh wow. I'm trying to think what was our first barrel pick.
Our first barrel pick.
Pick or like sitting down and
The first barrel pick that we were a part of would have been
Wilderness Trail.
Black Bourbon Run 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the one,
Wilderness
yeah.
Trail.
I know I wasn't there, but but I remember.
That was Wilderness Trail. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to think about that. Okay.
I
That
was
was
gonna.
2022.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2022.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Y'all done like a steady pour official single barrel?
Not
logo?
yet. Not.
Seelbach?
Not yet.
Yeah, we can have the barrel sold before we
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We
That's
are
our
trying to
policy,
get there
though.
though. We
That's
are
what we're
definitely
working
trying to
on.
get
That-
there.
That would be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of
Dope.
fun for sure.
Y'all get there.
Yeah.
You mentioned your catering background. I still kind of struggle with my palate and knowing what I'm tasting. Do you feel as though that gives you a heads up or like a lump up on tasting and what you're like actually tasting in the bourbon when you're testing it?
Okay, so what I will say is that I've been trained very well.
Okay.
Who I worked for was just like a Renaissance woman in terms of just, I mean, her level of expertise as a chef was one thing, but just she took so much, you pay so much attention to detail and so much attention to just all the nuances and all the tiny little things that make a big difference to the final result of just everything.
Yeah.
And so she approached tasting everything like that. Cocktails was like that. Food was like that. Spirits was like that. And so I was able to have the advantage of just having access to this beautiful bar full of a lot of craft stuff, actually, because she focused a lot on local. So I learned a lot of like local brands right here very early on when they first started, like the 1-8s, McClintocks, just a lot of them when they first started, and Cotton & Reed, a lot of them. And that I think helped me just have an appreciation for tasting across categories. I'll say that.
Gotcha.
And so I think part of kind of like mastering just tasting in general, you have to kind of break certain things down by categories, whether you're breaking it down across certain types of finishes, whether you're breaking it down across certain mash recipes, whether you're breaking it down across a distillery's just lineup per expression, however you want to break it up. You gotta sit there, compare and contrast, and really dial in the nuance. And that I think I've just was trained to do from the beginning.
Gotcha.
That's just been my constant practice. That and just women pay more attention to detail, period. And I'm happy.
You ain't lying.
There's no argument there. I will not argue with that point.
Things. But I think from the onset, I just was already trained to approach things in a
Definitely.
certain way. And so I think that's helped for sure.
Gotcha.
And I like to cook. And so I think if you do things from scratch, which I do, like you're going to come across all types of flavors, aromas, etc.
Gotcha.
All those, if you keep your sensory log kind of up to date, so to speak, inevitably it's going to come out when you're tasting stuff. When you're tasting it with intention, at least.
Right.
Very cool.
Well, since you're, talking about breaking down flavors, I think right now we can go right into our whiskey that we're going to review. I mean,
What did she say? Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. I love it. I love it.
now, because when I watch your reviews, like, not only do I know what to expect when tasting it, but it's like I expect how to experience, because she drops these bars,
Right.
So
like you know what I mean. Like I love the fact that we got on the show to drop some bars.
She's gonna drop some. I'm excited now.
I was gonna say no pressure, but it really is no pressure.
No.
She's
Drinking whiskey.
He was ready for this.
Is this your first time having the Fortuna Barrel Proof, or you've already tried it?
We've had it.
I think we've all tasted it many times. I think.
because we enjoyed the Fortuna, was it small batch or
Yeah, the original.
the original?
Fortuna, yeah.
Standard proof, standard proof, what, 90 or something
In the
like that?
90s.
Right.
Sorry.
I think it's closer to 100, maybe. I might be wrong.
It's like between 90 and 100.
Yeah.
From what I can
Yeah,
recall.
I'd say it's
Was it a
90
sour mash?
Yeah.
But yes, it
Yeah.
is.
It's a sour. That's the word I was looking for. It's a sour mash. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Pete told us that they have the barrel proof coming down, we was like, oh, we gotta taste it. We gotta taste it. We had it right there in the
And taste it.
in the
We
line.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Another one that I was
trying not to bring that up.
I mean, I tasted it. I think he brought it to BBR4, didn't he? Didn't we have it down there?
He did.
Oh, yeah, so it's all good. Bring it up. Bring it up. It's all the past.
I said, what y'all getting?
What was that?
I said, what y'all getting? What's the giving?
What's the given?
So I mean,
Y'all ain't gonna just make me work.
said, I want to hear what you got. I mean, I always go back to the original Fortuna. I know that not everybody might have heard like our original review of it, but it's got like a lot of like cinnamon and spice and molasses
nice.
and everything. Yeah, there you go.
Very sweet.
It has a dusty nose to me.
It does have a dusty nose. It gives me like soft vanilla bean, but also like chocolate powder.
Yeah, I get that.
Like that dustiness for me translates to like kind of like a powder of whatever the thing is that I'm smelling.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Like vanilla protein powder, chocolate, like chocolate powder. Like that's
A dehydrated version.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know, of course you get the traditional caramel, but I'm getting like this funnel cake confectionery sugar.
Yes, I'm with you on the funnel cake. Yes, 'cause I was sitting there thinking to myself something like either baked or fried,
Yeah, definitely on the pastry side of things.
like sweet. Yeah, sweet, but from like a pastry perspective, I'm with y'all on that.
Like a cronut.
Cronut.
Cronut. When I was in New York last summer, my aunt was like going ridiculous in Brooklyn trying to find a cronut. I didn't even know what the hell a cronut was at that point. I was like, this is dirty and I don't want any parts of it.
Did you have it?
No.
Oh.
We didn't get one. It was an action-packed itinerary during that week that they were there. But that's when I learned that cronuts are a thing.
Cronuts are definitely a thing.
been a
There's a
thing.
local bakery that has cronuts.
Are they
It's a-
good?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Is that a
Like
question?
like is a donut, but like flaky like a croissant?
All right, so take a croissant, and this is their particular version of it. So take a croissant, keep it straight, don't put it in the crescent, and instead of baking it, deep fry that joint, and then glaze it like a donut. Shut up.
So it's like it's creamy baked croissants.
Oh my god, it's so good. So you get the sweetness of the donut with the butteriness of the croissant. It's quite lovely. This is kind of what when you said
sounds
the
like
baking and the bake.
Yeah, it's very pastry.
That's what I'm getting. That buttery with the
It
sweet.
makes sense that you would smell that on the nose. Mm-hmm. That definitely makes sense. That butteriness.
It's very dessert-like.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I smell a lot of syrup.
And it does not drink 120.
No.
No, but I feel like it feels.
No, it
Feels, I'm gonna say.
That hug is
Kentucky
120.
hugs. the
I am
shit out of
nice
it,
and
but-
warm right now.
But it doesn't taste that way. I
No,
agree with
it
you.
doesn't.
Definitely warming. It's not warming enough that's gonna smack you in the chest. It's
No.
more like
No, it's like a warm embrace.
Pause.
I'm almost glad we didn't quite hear that.
I heard it. I just saw the
You were
hand
just
motion.
talking on top of
I
it.
know. I apologize.
No, this is really good, man. I mean, so I think there's different batches of these. I don't know what
That's just the barrel proof.
there are. So this is I'm not sure what the proof is on your bottle if you have it there. Ours is 120.83.
Okay, yeah, mine is 121.36.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's
Slightly different.
small fluctuations, but I think in general it's the same. But Chad, who works for Rare Character over there, was talking about how he kind of made different variations on the same blend, and they came out at different proofs. So, like I said, 5 different batches, but all the ones we've had have been delicious. I mean, we've kind of had some samples along the
they
way,
have.
and yeah.
They
so-
don't identify it on the bottle as a different batch, so that's cool.
No,
I know,
yeah.
that's weird.
I didn't
Yeah.
know by the proof then, I guess.
That's the only distinguishing factor.
I think
Yeah.
it's either 120
Right, you
or
gotta look at the
121,
proof,
right?
yeah.
It's 120, 121.
I think they're all pretty much between 120 and 122, something like that. Yeah. So.
But you would
Similar.
think that they would at least want to throw that.
The batch number on there somewhere.
Yeah,
so
something.
you can know what batch you have.
I mean,
Yeah.
bare minimum, it's good for marketing.
Right.
What'd you say?
That's not the rare character way.
That's not the rare character.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not how they did their releases.
Well, when we talked to to Pete, who's one of the co-owners, he said they try and put as much information as they can out on the labels of things that they're, especially their single barrel series. But sometimes it's depending on where they're sourcing from. You know, they don't have the right to say where exactly it came from.
But isn't Fortuna like
their product?
They're not really sourcing it.
It's true.
So
I don't
like,
know.
It's just
That
not
doesn't-
the way, bro.
Yeah,
It's not the way.
we got
but it is though. If you,
Fortuna is meant to be where characters more consistent flagship expression.
right,
This is not going to always taste the same.
right,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying.
I also think probably for them, and I'm guessing, to put a batch number on it right now kind of leaves them forced to commit to something they might not be ready to commit to.
Okay.
What
So
I understand that.
I don't.
if you put batch 1, batch 2, batch 3, and all
Right.
that on, people are going to want to know what's the difference between batch
Right.
1 versus batch 2 versus batch 3. Then they have questions that they have to answer to people who are buying it, because this industry, the consumers,
still have
they
questions.
turn
But
around and
hold up.
collect certain things. They want to look for this batch versus this batch
Right.
and all that.
And I hear you, but they don't necessarily have to answer any of those questions because
have to,
because
but-
they don't really answer the questions for a lot of their other expressions because they either don't have those answers because they just tasted it and was like, all right, we'll take them, or they'd rather have the mystery. So why not just keep up the mystery? You can put the batches because if you like that batch flavor wise, it doesn't matter what it's made of, how it was made. You like that batch, look for that batch.
It's out there. If you Google,
I don't think they want you to look for it. I think it's gone. It's gone.
if you Google Fortuna Barrel Proof and type the proof in, you can find people who have identified the batches, and you know,
Based on the
you gotta
proof?
do,
Oh,
you gotta
okay.
do
So
a little
the-
bit of
So
like this is batch 3.
They made
found
it a
that out
scavenger
by-
hunt.
Yeah, you know,
The proof,
little
the
bit of work
proof
into
is
it.
the proof is the batch, pretty much.
I guess.
And I think different proofs came out at the same time,
Correct.
too.
Yeah.
Not like they came out at different times.
No.
Like bottles we have at Seelbach, I'm probably sure I could pull another one and it's a different proof. So when identifying it as a batch when it's not going to be separated in terms of release.
Right.
Okay,
I mean,
interesting. Cal's like,
Cal's like,
I'm not with it.
they were just rolling.
Batches 1, 2, and 3 in the same release. That don't make sense.
I
And what
mean,
did-
I guess not, but neither is having separate proofs in the same release.
Oh no, there's plenty of that. The Blue Note does that all the time. They're uncut. The proofs are up
All
and
over
down.
the place.
Oh,
All the
interesting.
bottles are coming out at the same time. They're occupying a case at different proofs. So that's just what we do.
Well, you know what? They got us talking about it, so
I mean,
we're doing something
you,
right.
you're doing exactly. We're
They
still,
got, you know, the mystery, the intrigue with that company is crazy.
we're still enjoying
Yeah,
it.
that's-
It's still good. So batch
still
number, no
good.
batch number. I'm gonna buy it.
I mean, I'd recommend it.
Nah, I hear you though.
really good.
I get you.
So did the
Love it.
nose follow through on the palate?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I got a lot of leather. I still get the vanilla aspect. I still get that like dark chocolate aspect. I like the leather on this stuff.
Leather, that's interesting.
It does. It doesn't gonna sound weird. It tastes cozy.
That's what I said. It's like a warm embrace. Like it's
It is like a
embracing
warm-
you.
it's- Agreed. It is
Yeah,
definitely
it's not heat. It's not punching you or kicking you. It's just there. Like, hey, I'm here for you. Thank you.
Now I'm here.
Thank you, Fortuna Barrel Proof. I needed you tonight.
I think I get that dusty note more so on the palate for me as well. But I'm really enjoying this. This is a solid
Should we
pour.
This is really
give some
solid.
ratings?
Yeah, we should.
Should we tell the
Yeah,
system though?
yeah. Let's go through the rating system.
All right. Have you heard our rating system at all?
No.
All right. So it is in ounces that you would like a pour of, 1 through 5. Right. So 1 is 1 and done. Once
1 ounce.
you've had it, you're good. It's time for the next one.
2 ounce pour is cocktail. Anyone? I'll put it in a cocktail.
Try and save it.
You're right.
3 is like, it's good. I'm not mad at it. 3 is solid, I would say. Yeah.
4 ounce pour is give me more. Like I need some more of that. I need to find that today.
And a 5-ounce pour is
Steady pour. Top of the top.
Just keep it coming,
Just
cause
bring the bottle.
Lines.
fantastic.
Leave the bottle.
Right.
And bring more bottles.
And what you got in the back?
Do I have to give my rating
Please.
first?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to give it first.
Ladies first.
That's fine with that. It's good 3.5.
Okay.
Wow.
It's on right there under that. Give me more. Like I would definitely have another pour of this. It's not giving like thank you next. It's not giving fill my Glencairn up with it.
Right.
But that's just because I always just lean into more regularly drinking really weird, funky stuff.
Get you.
That's the only reason why. Like this is definitely giving very well done, quintessential, reliable, neat sipping bourbon. I wouldn't put this in a cocktail. I'd rather just enjoy it as it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So,
get you.
and I would also enjoy it in a cocktail because I don't feel like there's certain bourbons that are just reserved to not have in a cocktail, but it doesn't need to be mixed with anything. I can very easily just enjoy it just like this. I don't even need to dilute it. So
Nice.
solid 3.5 for me.
Nice. Like us, or I'll speak for myself, do you tend to gravitate more towards a higher proof bourbon or not so much?
Yes, because I like to control my level of dilution. I don't need a producer telling me that it's better at a certain proof.
Okay.
Most like, and this is really more of an issue with the heritage brands. Like, if I'm picking a Brown-Forman single barrel, I don't need you giving it to me at 90 proof. I want it at the proof that it came out of the barrel, so that I can add my drops to the level that I want it, to the expansion of the flavors at the level that I want it.
I dig that.
Everybody should have that choice.
Dig that.
So for me, barrel proof, though I don't necessarily think you should just be drinking everything at fucking hazmat, that you should have the option to dilute to where you personally like it.
Nice.
Because everybody's palate is different.
True.
I can dig that.
Wow.
So I could appreciate something at 150 proof just as it is. But if I want to add a good 5 to 7 drops, I want the option to do that. I don't want somebody doing it for me. That's just me personally.
Nice. Okay.
So you all in on barrel proof everything is what you're saying, like.
I'm thinking anything that's coming out that anything coming out of Seelbach, typically if it's Seelbach label on, it's probably cast strength.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. That's true.
There's a rule about that, it's probably cast strength.
Yeah. I mean, I can
We
see
have a
that.
Seelbach bottle here that Darius brought.
Yeah, I told you about this on the BBR4.
Private reserve that I see right there.
This is the straight bourbon finished in toasted French oak and maple syrup.
Nice. Is this the most recent batch?
This is batch number 5. Was that?
Okay, so that's the previous batch.
Yeah, this
Okay,
was
okay.
like last year. I got this.
Nice.
Oh man, yeah, that's
Tasty.
Oh, that was good.
That's the first iteration with the Bardstown juice. We have 2 now out with the Bardstown juice versus the MGP. So.
Oh, okay.
It was a batch 6 out right now. Is what you're saying?
Darius is like,
I
I
didn't
gotta
realize
get
that.
Nice.
No, that's dope.
How you like it?
Oh, I mean, I love it. It's halfway there. I didn't think I was gonna have enough to bring to the guys tonight. It was really that good. It's really that good.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure
yeah.
everybody here tried it yet or not.
I haven't
Yeah.
tried it yet.
Okay. Well, now I don't know if you're gonna go down and proof a little bit, but
Oh, I'm gonna still try it. It's gonna hit this glass.
I'm gonna go down to proof, but it's still cast strength. So
and it's still good.
Yeah, it was delicious.
It was. Yeah,
It was delicious.
it was really good.
that's one thing that people have to stop doing, though. Just I think in terms of like people who are newer to whiskey, just not really giving too much energy to what the proof says on the label. People will read a high proof on something, look at something that's over 100 proof, and just automatically assume that it's about to kick you in your chest, and it's not the case. Yes, granted, there are going to be ones that do, but that's not every single thing. I've had plenty of very high proof whiskeys that do not drink at the level that it's on that label.
Yeah.
It really all boils down to just that barrel.
Now, while I agree with you, I have made the mistake of putting the nuance of my now palate on new people. And it's real different. Because I've had people where, and to your point, I'm like, oh, well, this doesn't drink as high as proof, and it's like one teens, and right, and really, it doesn't drink high to me.
You have leveled up to that level,
Right?
Graduated.
normal everyday folk that don't really drink. One that don't really drink liquor like that, or just don't really drink liquor straight up
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Drinking liquor
Anything,
like 80 proof.
right? Anything is a punch in the chest.
Yeah.
That's true.
And they kind of, I've realized that I got to take a step back when I'm introducing people to things. Like, let me, I know you young on this journey. Let me hit you with this 80 proof.
Yeah, you can't be doing that to the uninitiated, man.
I know.
That's
I
true.
made that, and I be trying to like fast forward them into it.
No, me and Kyle the same way. 'Cause I'm like, oh, this is like only 100. You can handle that. They're
Right.
like coughing and wheezing. I'm
Oh
like,
my god.
I'm like, are you good?
The 100 proof is like standard. Like that's like the baseline.
Right.
But I realize that's not the case for
It's
a lot
not.
of people.
It's not.
If you're not
Because
used to
in
it.
my brain, I'm like, I want to introduce you to. If you say that you like aged spirits, I'm trying to give you the best of what's out there off rip. For my opinion,
Yes.
best of what's out there, for my opinion, is not 80 proof. It's not.
It's really
Right.
not.
Speak on it.
It's not what you're ever going to experience in my house, in my office. You're just not. And so I forget to be a little more discerning about what I'm doing. Everybody just kind of gets a cookie cutter. This is what I'm enjoying right now.
So you gonna like it or you gonna?
Right.
Either you win it or learn to get with it.
Well, they remember.
They will
Like,
remember.
You better get down or lay down.
I'm laid down now, but thank you.
But then by the next time you try, you'll be less thorough.
Right. There you go.
So you-
Yeah
so-
and no.
So you start off high first, like you gotta start off high from the jump. So you,
I built that muscle early. I don't have time. We're grown adults. Like,
It's like teaching kids to swim, right? You got to throw them in the pool
She said
throw 'em
and just
out
let
there.
them. Yeah, that's it.
it's like 80 proof.
Oh man, that's it.
take it from there.
I've learned the hard way. I've ruined plenty of people that was like, oh yeah, we're interested in whiskey. What do you think about this? And I'm like, oh, I'm pulling stuff
132.
off my shelf. Like, oh, try this, try that, try that. And they're like, oh shit.
I don't do that. Not that I at least I'll let the person tell me that they like whiskey. I'm like, if you like whiskey, okay, you should try this.
A lot of people say that they don't mean it. They don't.
Exactly. So that's what I've learned the hard way. They say that, but when they say that, it's like they tried Basil Hayden.
Basil
They got
Hayden.
some knob free or like I don't know,
Word.
something like that.
Nice.
Whiskey with training wheels.
Basil Hayden used to
Yeah.
be my favorite bourbon. Like I used to love Basil Hayden like 4 years ago.
Right.
No,
I haven't had Basil Hayden in years.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, and I still their toasted is really good. I still keep a bottle of that, and
Nice.
I like the wine.
Yeah, I gotta revisit them. I haven't had them in so long. I just kind of like
You're not gonna like it.
forgot about them.
At this point,
Don't-
it'd be
don't rhyme.
underdone probably, but you know they're still good. They're solid. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, you know,
When
don't
you're
sound
at
too
the bar,
convincing.
and that's the only
if
thing
it was
that's on the
available
shelf.
at a party or something
Right.
like that.
That's all they have, and you know, you could do worse.
but it might be
Good
a fact.
So Darius, what about you? How much of a rating are you gonna give?
That's a good question. I like what Dee said about how this is just like kind of straightforward, like it's well put together. Like there's nothing really quirky about it, nothing out of the ordinary. It's just really good. So with that, I'm probably gonna give it like a 3.75. I wanted to give it a 4. Then I'm like, yeah, it's just really good. It's just really nothing unique about it. It just tastes really good, and I'm not mad about that at all. And so yeah, I'm gonna stick with 3.75, a little higher.
It's very easy to finish.
Yeah.
What about you, Tone?
Yeah. I mean, I'm similar to Darius. I think I have it rated a little bit higher because the regular Fortuna to me is at that level of like 3.25, 3.5, where it's like solid, but you know, it's nothing that I'm like blown away by. And I feel like for it to be a barrel proof version of that same liquid that, you know, doesn't, like I said,
Scald
knock
you
you.
on the-
Yeah, it's just really solid. And I think the other thing to me is just the dustiness to it. You know, just that they revived this brand, and it's like you can get all of that within the palate and the taste of it.
So by the color spoiler that there's a lot of age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
Like,
yeah, I mean it's a 4.
shout out to him for that. You can tell it's well aged.
Yeah, for sure. It's a 4 for me. I mean, it's solid. I've gone back to it multiple times. Like I said, we tried different iterations, and I just think it's really good.
I love how we're trying to make dusty a positive thing. And I realize in the whiskey community,
I think it is.
I realize in the whiskey community, it is a positive thing. But in any other context, you hear dusty, you look dusty.
Oh, just
not
the
positive
word.
at all.
It's only
Dusty old
positive
bourbon.
in the context of whiskey.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Right.
Can you say
It's just
like
hilarious to me.
It's like powdery?
Dusty ass bottle out of here.
Look at that dusty bourbon you got over there.
Get me dusty.
Powdery is wow.
I would say, would you prefer powdery?
No. I'd rather dusty.
There you go. Drew, what you got?
Well, Tone, there's some people out there that are not surprised you would give it a 4-ounce pour.
I mean, yeah, we cape a little bit for a rare character. I'll admit it. You know, there's a couple of people who remind us of that.
Think I came for rare character?
What's that?
happened?
What did you say, Tone?
We cape for rare character a little bit.
Oh,
Like
cape.
we're just fans of a lot of stuff they do. A lot of
Yeah.
single barrels.
Yeah. Some people say that we're a little biased, we're little stands of rare
Fives
character.
across the board.
I mean, they do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, somebody his name might start with O.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But I'm gonna agree with Tone. 4-ounce pour for me. Give me more. I mean, there's just I'm really enjoying this because it's just a solid pour. And even though it's not like high in complexity, which is usually my favorite. Usually that's my
Journey.
go-to for a 4-ounce pour. It has to have, but there's
just
something
good.
about it that is just hitting that the right notes for me in terms of sweet. You got a little bit of complexity there, but not the journey that I like to go on.
It's just good. It's just
but
really
it's just
good.
it's just a solid pour. I was gonna say 3.75, but I'm just like, nah, I guess it gets that 4 from me.
Oh my God.
What about you, Cal?
pressure.
Honestly, I keep going back and forth between 3.75 and 4.
Same here. Okay, I did the same thing.
Come
I
on, I'm gonna
keep
be the
going
only
back
one.
and forth because when she said 3.5, I was like, okay, I can definitely see 3.5. Like that's probably like baseline for me as far as this is concerned. Now, am I truly just gonna reach back for it over and over again? As you're
Seems
reaching
like I
back
will.
for
She
it.
literally reaches for it.
And I'm just like, I mean, I kind of want some more right now.
Y'all reaching for it in this moment because it's right here. The question is,
Would you have? Yeah.
tomorrow when it's not right in your face?
When there's other options around you.
Right. Like, are you
Good
guys
question.
in the
I-
daily drinker or no?
I mean,
Having a drink is something you're going to every day or every other day or however frequently you have a pour because that varies.
it does vary, but this could be up there on that daily. Like I would just kind of reach back for it, kind of time and time again.
That's solid, reliable.
It's-
You know what you're getting out of
right.
it.
Right?
Sound like a 4 to me, bro.
I know.
That's what it sounds like. We'll be the
You know
odd
what?
ones out.
I'm going with a 4.
Dang. Can I change my rating now? Nah.
It was 0.25 away.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Like, because I get mad at us sometimes because I feel like when it comes to our ratings, sometimes we kind of tend to like stick to middle of the road. You know what I mean? So we stick to the 3s, 3.5, 3.75 a lot.
Yeah.
Relatively consistently. Unless it's just not good. And then we'll dive into like the 2s, and I don't think anything's got a 1 really.
Well, look, D, you're a content creator, right? Would you spend time reviewing a whiskey that didn't taste good?
Well, you wouldn't know until you review it, right?
No.
But you
I
wouldn't,
would
you know what I
do
mean?
something that I may not necessarily love, but that I can enjoy enough and talk about.
Yeah.
But if I just flat out don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like everything I review is not necessarily something that I love and I'm head over heels for, because I don't think that's fair to do. Because because I'm not just out here just idly like reviewing whiskeys. Like I also sell. So it's like I still care for people to be able to trust that like I'm not going to be biased with everything I talk about.
Right.
Yes.
So if I don't like it at all, I'm just not going to talk about it. And you'll never know what those are because there's too much shit out here that I can't sit all day drinking and talking about all the shit that I tried.
Right.
Yeah.
So you'll never know that I don't like them because I'm not going to talk about them. But I also, if I'm emphasizing that I love something, I'm emphasizing that I love it. Otherwise, I'm just talking about my experience of it. And if you like what I'm talking about, then it's for you. If you don't, move on. And that's just kind of how I try to keep it in terms of how I approach what I talk about.
Right.
Nice.
Awesome.
At least find it interesting enough to give a perspective on.
Right.
I think it's sharing.
Right. And I mean, I also think that's important. I mean, because of you guys seem to really highlight the craft distilleries, right? And so what made you say we want to highlight craft distilleries? And when you go into that, could you also define what a craft distillery is? Just to show our listeners are on the
a lot
same
of
For people
page.
who don't know what that means,
Yeah.
There is a
like
lot of people who
myself,
don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't think there's probably any really. It's really what it means to her.
It's not even what it means to me.
Okay.
It's very relative in general because there is no set definition as it pertains to the industry. Like there's no industry-wide definition of what craft means.
Right.
Because now the way we approach it is there's the heritage brands, the Heaven Hills, the Wild Turkey, the Buffalo Trace, and all that. Those are heritage brands. These are brands that have been around forever. We know exactly what to expect from them. In a blind, you can tell the difference between something from Buffalo Trace versus something from Heaven Hill versus whatever. You know what that mash bill tastes like if you drink enough of it. There's those heritage brands. Outside of that is these smaller brands that are younger. So they have a lot younger juice. They're typically sourcing something when they're starting out. So it really comes down to really focusing on how well they source and blend. It also is kind of a testament to like their palate, how well they go about like assessing and what their criteria is for how they're choosing what they're actually putting in a bottle. But when it comes to actual like producers, not just people who are sourcing somebody else's stuff, craft, at least from the way we've kind of learned to narrow it down, is one, they're not some brand that's existed for decades or maybe even over a century, because at this point alcohol has been being made for a very long time. So some of these brands have managed to stand the test of time, and the craft brands at this point are like less than 20 years old, because there's some people who've been in the teens at this point, but they've been sitting on juice in barrels for so long because you got to wait till it's ready and all the things. So it comes down to size of the producer, methods, like as an example, like Baltimore Spirits Company, probably one of those distilleries that I would say personifies craft as a definition for me. They're a relatively small operation. They do what they want to do. They're pot distilling whiskey. They're making all types of fun experimental stuff, like single malts that are 100% malted wheat. Like nobody's talking about that. Like brands like that, that's like the epitome of craft. Like they're literally crafting and playing and experimenting and being very nuanced and intentional about what they're putting in these bottles. Also tends to be a smaller yield. What they're able to produce per release is going to be on a smaller scale because they're operating on a smaller scale in general, which is kind of nice because that's what's kind of fueled this kind of culture of like collecting these different batches and really paying attention to shit like batch numbers and all that. Yeah, it's really about production methods, size, how long you've existed, all those type of things kind of contribute to that overall craft thing. And just not being under a larger umbrella brand.
Right.
And also, craft distilleries is where the diversity is in terms of minority-owned, liquor brands. So that's another reason I just kind of, as you mentioned that, I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's probably where a lot of the minority-owned brands are too. where you get to see a lot of the different flavors and how they go about making whiskey.
Kind of has to be. It's pretty much cost.
That you're able to see who are able to talk about what they're doing, because these heritage brands have people of color or different walks of life working for them, but they're just not everyone's allowed to say who they work for, what they do for them. Part of the things. I know a lot of people behind the scenes who are just not allowed to talk about the work they've done for these bigger brands.
Right.
Wow.
I wonder why.
They don't, they don't want people to know.
No, I think it's cool that Seelbach puts a focus on that, and like a lot of these brands probably wouldn't have the reach that they do if not for you guys, where you guys can distribute them further out than, a distillery only release. The fact that they can be through Seelbach and that have a bigger view on them is pretty cool. I like that.
It's very cool to see and very cool to be a part of, for sure.
Nice.
And it was Blake's kind of vision in terms of the craft aspect of it.
Okay.
He kind of got popular with the Bourboner brand by doing the Pappy Van Winkle maps. And
Okay.
so it was like identifying on a map where all like Pappy was in these different states or something like that.
Okay.
But in that, kind of realized that there were a lot of really great whiskeys out here that weren't Pappy. This is just as good or better than Pappy. And so I think that might have been kind of what clicked for him. Like, they don't really have like a resource right now that is like putting all of these brands in one place for people to get educated about them, hear the stories behind them, and like really get invested in what these people are doing. And so that's kind of how that started.
Nice.
Very nice.
Now, has there been something that you've seen in the craft distillery space that you then saw the heritage distilleries like, oh, we need to start doing that, or we should, or perhaps is there something in the craft distillery space that you want to see more of done across?
Not necessarily as it pertains to what I want to see heritage brands do, because they're going to do what they're going to do.
Right.
Some of these brands, they're not dumb. Like, they're seeing certain stuff that's going on, which is why they're starting to have more experimental releases, or like, like finish it. Like, Jack Daniel's making a single malt was probably like one of the biggest jokes that I saw. I mean, shout out to them for giving it a try, but I just don't understand why I do that. But it's because they know that American single malt is like a category that's exponentially
Blowing
growing
up.
every Yeah, and it's like it would behoove them if they've got a ton of malted barley to play around with. Why not? But I mean, they're watching what the craft brands are doing and being successful with, and trying to figure out ways to make it make sense for their own lineup. But I don't necessarily care to see them do anything that the craft brands are doing. I think they just stick to what they're good at. You're gonna make your money doing that. Don't be greedy. But I would love to see more pot distilled whiskey. Most brands are not really going to invest in doing that because you get a smaller yield from it. You can't control as much with a pot still as you can a column still, but that's the part of it that I like. And so I want to see more of that. But I'm enjoying the brands that do it.
Is there any of those that you guys carry that you can highlight? I know, you said Baltimore does, or
Baltimore Spirits Company for sure. I know Finger Lakes Distilling in New York, Kinsey brand, they have a pot distilled whiskey.
Okay.
I can't think of who else off the top of my head. It's really not a ton.
We'll have to look that up. Yeah.
If,
Take a trip up there.
if they're not sourcing, they're probably using a column still.
Right.
Or they're doing some sort of hybrid situation where they're rectifying on a column still. So I want to see more just like straight pot distillation, keeping all that characterfulness, keeping all like weighty, like viscous juice. I want that.
Okay.
I would almost say like that might have to be an episode that we do where we distinguish, like a flight that's all pot distilled or all hybrid.
That would be cool.
Or all column distilled.
I think Willett has a pot distilled bourbon, I believe.
Word.
Will it?
Willett, I think they do. Yeah. Having the little interesting bottle, like little.
It looks like a pot.
Bottle in the shape of the pot.
Right. I've never actually tried it though, but I've seen it everywhere. I gotta try it out.
It's good. I mean,
You've had it?
Standard.
It's all right.
We spoke briefly that those particular shape bottles, sort of briefly, at Seelbach.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's Willet.
It's Willet. It's Willet. I like Willet.
Yeah, I think the whiskey out in Newark has one.
Oh
Have you
yeah.
tried that?
Oh yeah.
All
The-
points?
All points.
Yo, how have we
they're rye.
not gone there yet?
That's a great question.
It's a great question.
We're terrible.
All right, we are there.
We're not terrible. Don't. We're not terrible.
Yes, you're not
We're
terrible.
getting
Just haven't
better.
got there yet.
We're not
we're getting
terrible.
there.
Don't
We're
say positive affirmations. Come on.
You're right. My apologies.
Thank you, Darius.
That's what I'm here for.
So I heard the term master taster, and that sounded awesome. And I've heard that, behind your name. So, is that an official title that exists out there? Is there a license, a test you gotta take?
How do we become master?
master tasters?
Somebody gave me that title. Somebody introduced me that way in writing in an article somewhere. And I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Technically, while I do have certain certificate, like I'm WSET certified level
Yeah.
1, 3 in spirits up to the educator's level. So technically I have certifications, I guess, behind validating that title, but I didn't give myself the title. I happily took it once they gave it to me.
It was bestowed upon.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it was bestowed upon
I like that.
Yeah. And
I was happy to complete.
You just
You
didn't.
did your
You just
10,000 hours. You're good.
That's right.
I taste a lot of shit.
That's
If
it.
So you know
someone
what?
could trust me to blindly judge spirits across the nation, then why not?
You say, you know what?
Yeah,
I am a master.
Yeah.
I am a
Talk your
master.
shit. Yeah, get like that.
We're not mad at
You're
it.
not lying. Yeah,
Glow.
master thief.
That's my song right now.
right.
I'm playing it every day.
Wait, what song is this?
Glorilla.
Here you go.
I don't even know this song.
What? You the youngest one. You the only one that should know.
Yeah,
this.
I don't listen to the radio at all. Forgive me.
Exactly. It's a really dope song.
You need some Glorilla in your life.
I need Glorilla in my life.
Talk about.
Is she on there with a sexy red and Glorilla?
Oh my
Wait.
God.
All right. Wait. Hold on.
Look at her.
I'm not going to put them in the same basket.
Please don't.
Okay, I don't know. That's why I just asked.
But I was gonna
prepare
say,
myself.
But I was gonna say, particularly that song. Talk about positive affirmations.
Yes.
Listen to that song.
Glorilla, what's it
Yes.
called?
All right.
Yes.
What's
It's
it
called Yeah Glow.
Yeah, Glow. It's not Glow. I can dig that. I can dig that. All right, I'm gonna check it out. I appreciate that.
So if people want to improve upon their palate and test their palate, and do you recommend getting those tasting kits or those smelling kits, or what should people do to really strengthen their palate so that they could discern the different notes,
they
just
cook?
like you know?
Should they cook more?
You could get, yes. Also, you could get the tasty kit if you're not the type of person that's gonna pull all those type of things and put them together yourself. Then pay for the convenience of getting the kit. Like the Knows Your Bourbon kits, he was actually really smart with that. You don't have to necessarily buy that though. Like if you want to pull a piece of caramel candy and some chocolate and some honey and a rosemary sprig together and taste and smell and do the things, you could just do that.
That's true.
Also, just as you're living life, it's put me in a more intentional space. Like if I'm eating a plum, I'm real intentional about what that skin tastes like now. I'm really intentional about the difference between a Rainier cherry versus like whatever generic sweet cherry that they have in the grocery store. Like I'm real. I pay a lot of attention to green grapes versus purple grapes, or like whatever. Like, but I just eat those things in my regular life. So I'm intentional about kind of logging what that experience was, so that I can recall it later if it happens in something that I'm tasting. So you don't necessarily have to buy a kit that has all things concentrated. If you're not the type to go pull the things and be intentional about it, then someone who's already done the work for you do it, because convenience is there for a reason. It definitely can't hurt. I've used the kits and I think they're useful. Now, I just feel like you gotta if your goal is to be a better taster, then just be intentional about everything that you taste outside of spirits. Because what we're pulling from what we're tasting in spirit, the shit that we're tasting is not because it's in the juice
Right.
itself. We're not tasting caramel because somebody put caramel in it. We're tasting vanilla because a vanilla pod was dropped in the barrel. Like, this is coming just from the juice and the process and the air and the oxidation and the wood interaction and the caramelization and all the things. It's coming from that. It's coming from grain.
Yeah.
It's coming from distillation process. So none of this shit that you're tasting is ever really going to be anything that's in it anyway. So you might as well just be intentional with, which really could just apply to life, period. It's kind of nice to just be intentional, like in the moment with like your meal or like that piece of fruit or like that really good coffee. Like just those things.
Yeah.
Really being in the moment with what you're experiencing with that will make it easier for your brain to just kind of click and recall something when you come across it again when you're tasting something else.
Right.
I like that because I cook a lot. I live alone, so I have to cook for myself. And a lot of times I'm seasoning things, but I don't really smell them or pay attention to how they taste. And I probably should start doing that, like actually nosing the seasoning I'm using in.
Put it in anything.
Yeah, like baking or whatever. Because a lot of those scents will probably come up for me. But I'm just like, I just want to make it and get it done with, and just get it over with.
Like people say baking spices, but that's because they don't know exactly what nutmeg tastes or smells like. They might be able to guess that something spices in the name, and so they're gonna say, "Oh, this spicier thing must be allspice, or it must be cinnamon, or whatever." But like, no, really bite on a black pepper pod. It ain't gonna kill you.
Right.
No, you're right. You 100%. I love that. That's great advice.
Yeah, like really taste the things individually,
Or
so that
crack it.
you know exactly what
Get some adobo on the palate.
Right.
Get some adobo. Let me taste this adobo real quick.
You're gonna taste something really funky. It probably won't be a whiskey, but it might.
Yeah.
Might taste something really funky. It reminds you of like an adobo.
There you go. Hey.
I'm gonna
drop that.
I'm gonna take some adobo straight to the head.
Yeah, I wouldn't say do all that.
Let me just taste some adobo real quick. Like, okay.
No. But some of those things, you're better off just like rubbing in your hand and just smelling.
Smelling, yeah.
Smelling. Correct.
Because the biggest tie to
What we taste, what we smell.
right. Well, most of what we taste is smell. And the biggest tie to memory is your olfactory senses, which is smell.
Yep.
So, smelling is probably going to be the one thing that kind of binds the thing.
All together.
You know what I mean? Than actually tasting the thing.
I agree.
Nice.
I agree. That's what I think. So she said about life. Just when you live in life,
just
knows things
as you're doing it.
intentionally.
Go in. That's an interesting.
I love that. I love that.
We passively consume so much shit.
Right.
That's
all
very
the
true.
time.
So with all the experience and knowledge that you obtained over the years, do you see yourself branching off to perhaps maybe creating your own whiskey brand?
Oh, D brand.
I really do.
Nice.
Her eyes says to me that's already a thought.
It's already in the
In the
works.
works, in the
Next year,
background.
on the way.
It's definitely something that I'm being intentional about.
Bring it back.
Yeah, glow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And
As long as a steady pour gets a barrel pick.
I'll probably start with whiskey, but it won't just be whiskey.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
I got some friends that love gin. We can do gin too.
And I'm also my first love is whiskey. My second love is agaves. So,
Okay. No. All right. The old tequilas.
Okay. Or mezcal. Tequila or mezcal?
yeah, mezcal, all bacanora, all that.
Okay.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would. I'm certainly looking forward to that. That certainly.
We all are, definitely.
It might be the first agave beverage that we test
on the actual show.
On a
I
steady
like
pour.
that.
Oh.
Let us know.
Have any of you all tried the Nulu Extra Añejo agave that we had?
No.
No.
Yeah, that came out around my birthday last year. That was like my birthday bottle pick or whatever. I gotta see if we have any more bottles of that. I'll send y'all one.
Is that on Seelbach's website?
Yeah. Actually, I think we still have some for sale. If you find yourself ordering one, use the code DEEstilled.
Hey.
Say less.
I just wanted to say,
the new extra Yeho is worth
it's good.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely.
Word.
I just wanted to say I got a chance to participate in a barrel pick with D over the summer in July, in Wild Turkey and Peerless. No, it was just really cool, man. I was super intimidated.
I mean, she's the master, bro. What is your title?
These palettes,
Just kidding.
palettes are really good, man. A lot of people are out there, D, Kimmy, Frank, all these different people, but it was a really cool experience.
Frank be out in these streets more than I do.
Hard.
Frank everywhere.
But it was cool though. It
I'm
was a great time.
surprised
Frank about to show up in the Zoom right now. Like, Frank's awaiting interest in the meeting right now.
Just about to say that. Pop in like, oh, what is this Zoom meeting?
Open the door. Come on.
Any of y'all going to New Orleans Bourbon Fest?
What happened?
Any of y'all going to New Orleans Bourbon Fest?
No.
Don't think so.
Is that the wait?
I wish
is it
we
called
could.
Bourbon Fest or is it called like Bourbon Boulet or is that something different?
No. Boulet happens I think Boulet happens in Kentucky now every year, but New Orleans Bourbon Fest this will be my first year going, but apparently it happens every March in New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be doing a collab event with Pinhook while we're there. So.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta put that on the calendar for 2025.
Yeah.
If there's anybody that would go to that event without saying anything, it would be Tone. Tone's out here in these streets.
Right.
Tone be just
Not this year.
Just
He was sending a pic on a plane. Sending a pic on a plane, like, I'm on my way to New Orleans.
Last year was a lot.
Wish y'all could have came.
Tony could be outside because we done crossed paths in New
That's
Orleans.
right.
You could be in New Orleans, like, out here with D in New Orleans. What's up? Wish y'all were here.
Glow up.
it'd be mad quiet for a weekend, and all of a sudden here comes the Instagram post like, boom, right during my time at this event. I'm like,
Some bullshit.
Do you think you might come out to the Black Bourbon Run? I know that was kind of cool having you guys come out last year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it again this year.
Okay.
Word.
Try to figure out a way to see if Seelbach is able to kind of get involved sometime.
Hey now.
We definitely
Hey, now.
need more female presence
Yes.
in general throughout the whole week, because it was great to see y'all, but that was near the end of our time being there. It'd be nice to have the presence the entire time.
My goal is to be able to go for the full week this time. It was it was very funny walking into this big ass sausage fest and one wife who also is just the camera woman, doing all the
One wife.
shout out to Sober Bourbon Girl, love you.
Yes.
But she's like the only woman.
Yeah. I'm sure she was happy to see y'all. She was like, yes. No, it was cool seeing you and Sonia. Yeah, Sonia was there. That was
Yeah,
dope.
shout out to Sonya.
Yeah,
Shout out.
that's
shout
the
out.
homie.
It was dope. It was
That was
real
definitely
dope.
cool.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to expect from Black Bourbon Run. That's why I just went for the last few days. But
No, it was dope.
now I
Paul.
got my jacket. I got my Letterman jacket.
There you go. Hey.
And now you official.
Shout out to Paul, man, the architect.
Right.
Set that up.
So you gotta come by.
Yeah.
they was really out there asking us what team we play for.
They really were like, what? Basketball, football.
Because God forbid we just be out here enjoying whiskey like
Right?
regular.
Well, we definitely got some looks at Buffalo Trace. They were like,
Because they were all,
Can y'all afford this trip?
they were all in line, and we just walked past the line to the back. Like,
a lot of confused stares.
Who are these guys?
And why are there 20 of them?
Why they all have something similar on.
Right.
Yeah, they explained to them this happened last year, the VBR3, but to actually experience it in actuality, in real life, real time, was just a whole different experience. Oh my God, it was like, yo.
With the jackets.
With the
'Cause we didn't
jackets,
have
they had the jackets last year.
The jackets and the t-shirts were like one of the best parts for me. The
Oh,
t-shirts.
yeah.
Right.
Sure.
It took it to a whole other level.
It really did.
I'm bringing mine. I'm getting all sorts of patches.
Nice.
Yes, now I get patches on my lip.
Yes.
Ah,
yes, you
there you
do.
go.
And pins. I got pins on the collar, patches on the arm.
Ridiculous.
He has a whole system down.
All the years of going to tails and just all the different things.
I have a question for you. What do you think about the bourbon frenzy? You talked about where you started at Seelbach's, 6 years ago, I guess. Do you think
for-
that? Yeah, right. 2018, you said. I think right. Is it
Next month will make 6. So yeah.
okay? Wow. Do you think that's something that's going to continue? Do you see a bubble bursting? Like you hear a lot of talk about, how long can this continue? Basically, I was wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Across industries, there's always going to be a point where something is going to burst. Like there's so inevitably when there's a ton of brands just all converging in this one thing, like consumers are going to get fatigue,
Yeah.
Right.
revert to what they're comfortable with, what they know they can rely on. They're going to get fatigued with experimenting with stuff. There's going to be the people who just have the discretionary to keep experimenting, and that's them. But that's a smaller segment of people. The majority of consumers are not going to keep taking a chance, taking a chance, taking a chance, or whatever on the new thing. They're going to go who they already tried, who they already know, and stay in that space. And that's going to kind of weed out who's really solid in what they're producing and who can sustain versus who's just trying to capitalize on the bourbon wave right now
Right.
or on
Got you.
the rave right now. Like, I think it's just going to be a moment where some of these more craft brands or whatever that are just starting are going to get weeded out with who they can sustain and who's not. And I really, at least I hope, it's going to really just boil down to the quality of the juice overall. Because that's what I care about.
Mm-hmm.
I could give a shit about your bottle shape and label if what's inside of it is not great.
Facts.
So I think it's going to weed out a lot of that.
Okay.
I think in general, you're right.
Is that at some point people get tired of like the standard, and no shade to MGP because they're consistent in what they do and there's a reason that they're utilized how they're utilized. Like, I'm just kind of over everybody's thing just being another series of barrels from MGP of all this Nashville.
Right.
True.
I can live without another 95.5 rye for the rest of my life and not lose a wink of sleep.
Wow.
Like, I'm over that. I
Yeah.
don't need a pepper bomb. I don't need a mint bomb. I need something else. So I'm ready for that to dissipate. Who knows if it's going to, because MGP is real strong out
They
here.
doing,
And
they doing
Yeah,
something.
they are.
And so I don't think that will ever cease. I just think that like recipes need to vary and like I just less of the monotony.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
But where would you say blending fits into all that, right? Because wouldn't blending kind of change if you do have that 95 rye, right?
And maturation process, the whole process.
Right.
Yeah, it's the whole process. Now that comes down to what these brands are. That's the sustainability part. Do you have the wherewithal to sit on these barrels and really let them mature? Or are you feeling the pressure to get a quick turnaround on your money and you're putting 4-year-old juice and putting a high price tag on it?
And that's what I'm afraid of because I feel like,
What are you afraid of for? It's already happening.
but no. What I'm afraid of is you're going to get a lot of quality stuff that goes away because they didn't have either the financial backing to kind of like wade through all the bullshit of everything else, or maybe they were just kind of out too soon and people the general community hadn't caught up to them yet, and now they're already out of business, so like whatever is out there that's it, you know what I mean? These are the things that I kind of fear within that bubble bursting, so to speak.
That's the nature of the market, though. That's inevitable. That happens now.
Yeah.
I think that there are going to be people who purchase barrels. They try to put out the young shit first to see what happens. They do their micro batches or whatever, their small batches, and kind of see how that does. And some people get a good run and their first couple batches out, they're able to sell it out. People get excited about it. The hype exists for maybe a year, and then they keep just trying to put out more young juice. It's like, okay, what else? And that's where they're going to start to meet problems. But that's where people get weeded out. I mean, you going into this business, if you're going into it, it's with the assumption that you've done the research to kind of know how you're about to play this out. Like, you know, you're going to have to sit on some barrels and really get some well-aged juice out there. You have to.
Right.
There's too much well-aged juice on the market that's available for you to not have something to compete with that. Because most people aren't going to spend a certain price point for super young, for highly diluted. They're still looking for at least 90 plus proof. Like you gotta understand your market, what they're looking for, considering all the options that are out there. Who are going to be able to step up and really sustain what the market's asking for are going to be people who continue to exist. Then we're going to have a lot of brands who kind of go quiet for a while, and then they pop back out with like a 6 to 8 year old juice, and then they have a whole wave again. So we'll see.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of people realizing that they're gonna have to sit on these barrels and figure out how they're gonna go about sustaining while they do so.
Nice.
That's why there's a lot of craft brands that exist that are trying to make so many types of spirits. Like there's a lot of brands now that we're getting approached by that they're doing a gin, they're doing a rum. They even sourced some agave. They're doing that. They're doing a bourbon. They're doing a rye, but both are really like young in like the 3 to 4 year range. Like they're trying to do a little bit of everything so that they make their money on their white spirits, afford to keep some barrels aging over here, but still want to offer a whiskey expression, and like trying to figure out gonna stick and just throwing all these different spirits at the wall to kind of see what people gravitate to. And if it works, great. But I'm experiencing a lot of like fatigue in terms of tasting through a lot of these brands, and like because they're in such a hurry to get something out, there's steps that are not being as intentionally addressed in the production side. And if you know what you're tasting, you can taste that in the final product. As someone may identify it as something, like someone can identify that something tastes chemically, or like it tastes like acetone, or it smells like plastic or something like that, and not really understand what or why that is. I can tell that they just left way too many of their heads cuts in the final result when they could have gotten more of that out, or they left too much of the tails or something like that. Like, so there's a lot of that happening.
Interesting.
Just something out. Which I think does a brand a disservice, because you don't want your first impression to be bad.
Right.
Because how do you sustain that?
Right. But they're just trying to squeeze as much out of it as possible.
Like they had this idea to start this brand. Now they've done this, made the juice, and so they got to do something with it.
Right.
Yeah. Try to hide it behind packaging.
Yeah, you see a lot of that.
Put it in a perfume bottle.
Or get a celebrity endorsement.
Vanilla Black.
Does Drake still have his whiskey brand?
No, it's still on the shelves.
Is it?
Yeah,
I've seen it.
That is when I would use Dusty in the bad brand.
It's still on the
The
shelves.
last time I see the Virginia Black, it literally had dust on it.
I mean, I see it at my local, shop. I see it here. I still have my bottle that I haven't touched in a long time.
Yeah. Trash. That shit's got dust on it, don't
I
it?
bought 2 bottles of it.
You bought 2?
The Virginia Black.
Wait, when it first came out, I bought it just because it was Drake's.
How'd you like it?
Drake's whiskey, but young.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody here liked it that much.
That was so many years ago, though. So I don't know if more batches have come out. Is it aged?
Nah, I think it's been that same batch since inception. I don't think they revisited it at all or tried to improve on it.
Promote it anymore. He doesn't
No,
talk
it doesn't talk about it at all.
about it, rap about
He
it,
don't care about bourbon.
I
He just
don't remember him talking about it originally.
I don't either. I just knew it had to.
He originally pushed it. He really did.
He did. I didn't know
And
that.
then after the first release, crickets.
He doesn't drink whiskey. He's not a whiskey drinker. There's no way.
He just a businessman. He just saw an
believe it.
opportunity and was like, "Hey, I put my name on this." And
You know what he drinks.
But that's why I can't. You know he does not drink whiskey.
Drake.
Yes, you do.
Why you
Yes,
say that?
you
Is
do.
it because of his character?
No. He doesn't drink whiskey because if he did, he wouldn't have promoted that shit. Period.
Put
Like
his name on that.
exactly. He would have led with, I really know whiskey. You know what I mean? Like it would have been a better
Yeah.
product. Period. You're not gonna put your name on something. What'd you say?
Maybe he's used to Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, but
could be.
he could at least fuck with Whistle Pig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true. Much better
even
Canadian
if
whiskey.
it was just Canadian whiskey,
Yeah.
he would have still known quality whiskey.
Like, this is not
He
quality.
went with Virginia Black in a perfume bottle.
The bottle is very nice.
It's a
Oh,
nice
that bottle was amazing. I just want to put that on
Is
display.
it amazing?
It's a nice bottle. It is.
Yeah, for the lady at Macy's spraying you in the face as you walk in.
I mean,
I mean, it looked like a great Christmas gift, right? It looked like a great Christmas gift.
it's a nice bottle.
He does not drink whiskey, is my point.
ASAP, have y'all tried ASAP Rockies whiskey?
He has a whiskey too.
No.
I haven't tried it yet.
Come off the bottom or top, whatever. I tried it at Bar Convent. It's another one that's kind of like, do you actually drink whiskey?
Yeah.
Oh Lord! So don't try. Is what you're saying.
It's like, I think with some of these artists, it's like these producers who don't necessarily feel like they'll get as far with their own face behind it are presenting these whiskeys to these artists and talking it up and all this and it tastes like this, it's gonna give you that and blah blah blah, and they taste and they're like, oh yeah, sure, I can get that. And they just kind of put their name on it and say they have a whiskey, but they don't actually indulge or.
He doesn't care. He's just like it's a paycheck. He already got a paycheck from it. It's like,
He gives a shit about whiskey. So like, what they're putting out, it's not bad, but it's definitely not like if I had to do you guys rating with it, it'd probably be like a 1.
It ain't good.
Wow.
It ain't good.
1.5.
Like,
yeah, I got it.
It was also giving okay next.
Now, what do you think about
Grande.
what do you think? Have you had digits?
Not digits.
Yes.
That's Scottie Pippen bottle.
No.
It's the hand on the bottle, right? That's the logo.
Then there's Steph Curry, Tones boy.
I haven't had. I heard bad things about that.
Gentleman's cut.
I also haven't had LeBron James tequila yet.
Oh,
He does have a tequila.
Yeah, what is that called?
I want to try.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
King,
I haven't
King
had
Tequila.
No.
Something with Lobo in it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
the-
right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't tried Scottie Pippen's anything. I haven't tried Steph Curry's anything.
That's another episode we're gonna do is a
Celebrity
flight of
endorsed.
celebrity
Brand.
whiskeys.
Really should.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Is it? No, I'm not kidding.
Bring Virginia Black back.
We're not gonna enjoy it.
Market research purposes.
Right. Exactly.
For research purposes.
Market research.
That's it.
It'll get you drunk.
We're gonna have a bunch of
Look,
mixers out here.
After the
valid write-off. Market research valid write-off.
after the fifth drink, you'll start to like it. I'm sure. He'll think it's top
You'll
five.
find a way to tolerate it.
It'll be the first episode where we have a bunch of mixers on the table.
What is
We're
this
gonna be
mixed
in here
with?
looking like a VIP section.
Got my whiskey sour right here to pour into this Virginia Black real quick.
I shouldn't say that. We should give it a shot. We should give it an honest shot. Maybe do it as a blind or something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good
We should
idea.
do it as a blind.
That is a good idea to blind it. You gotta blind these because we've.
Put it in a blind with some stuff that you know will already be good. Well, y'all wouldn't put it. So have someone pour for y'all, obviously,
Right.
but throw it in there with some stuff that you would more so expect to be
Good.
solid.
That's interesting.
I like that idea. That's a great idea. Because the bias is already there. When you know Drake's name's on it, you're gonna be like, I don't like Drake.
You're gonna be
Like you don't know the athletes, so it's like you really don't know what they're consuming when they're not on the court or field or whatever.
True.
Right.
So they're actually drinking whiskey in their free time, or if they just saw an opportunity and was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll give it."
It was an opportunity for Drake.
They are not. They are not drinking whiskey.
They're drinking
Cows,
mixed everything.
Some of these athletes are apparently we sell Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon, and the guy, I see, I'm not a basketball girl. Russ something.
Russell,
Yeah, he's a
Russell
Kentucky
Wilson?
native, I think, right?
Oh,
Not Russell Wilson. Oh yeah, he's a basketball player who's like more so known for playing overseas, but he did college ball
In Louisville. Yeah.
But yeah, he's got his bourbon, and apparently he really drinks bourbon.
Nice.
He really leans into that like quintessential, just whatever you would expect from a Kentucky bourbon
yeah.
kind of palate, and that's his jam. But he
Okay.
does drink it, and he's done his research. He's befriended the master distillers at these heritage brands and gotten his end that way and like done the thing. So a Scottie Pippen could very much do the same thing.
Right.
Have you tasted this bourbon by this Russ character?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 'cause we
Russ
did an IG live, and I always try to taste through the actual juice that we're talking about while I'm on the live.
Yeah.
Russ Smith.
Russ
There we
Smith.
go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Google.
Shout out to Russ.
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. We gotta check it out.
Absolutely.
Oh, D, thanks for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we had a master.
This was fun.
We had a master.
We had a
taster.
master. Are we all Padawans now? Like,
Thanks
Everybody
for
gets their own way.
thanks for staying up with us.
I actually enjoyed myself. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you want to share with the audience, the folks, where they could find you, or what anything else you want to plug?
So yeah, definitely you can find me at DEEstilled, and that's DEEstilled. All things distilled across platforms. Also, definitely get into Soul Palette Podcast. That is
yeah.
your palate as in the tongue. Yes. Me and my best friend / co-host Capri Robinson, who's literally on her way to Africa right now, about to do her
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Her.
Okay.
Safe
Yeah, we
travels.
got that going on. If you happen to be a producer and listening to this podcast, submit your shit to Ascot if you don't already do it. We have a great panel of tasters over there that are like really about their shit. So
That's Fred Minnick's competition.
yeah, spirits competition.
Nice.
That one is headed up by Fred Minnick.
Nice.
He started in 2020, and he was very like intentional about everyone he's picked to be a part of this whole council of tasters, as he's called it. So
Nice.
if you're into that, do that, and yeah.
That's it.
Well, all right.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
For having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
Well, so next time, we out.
Peace. Much love to y'all.
Well, that concludes this episode of